Hi, everybody. Welcome to our third Zoom artist conversation. This is for Cape Ann Plein Air, our virtual show in October. And today I'm going to be interviewing Matt Barber Kennedy, Jill Basham, Susan Lynn, Charles Newman, and Doug Clarke. We hope that you'll get to know our artists a little bit. We hope that you'll tune in, have your friends tune in. These will live on the website as well as being shown on our Facebook page and Instagram even. I think we're that cool that we can do that as well. So we hope that you will enjoy these conversations, get to know our artists a little bit, and certainly look for their art as we start putting it up in October for our virtual sale beginning on October 4th. So why don't we go ahead and get started. We're talking today with Matt, Jill, Doug, Susan, and Charles. That wasn't the exact order that I said I was going to do them in. So, but Matt, we are going to start with you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Matt Barber Kennedy, English, but I'm coming at you from Chicago. Specifically, I'm coming at you from the American Academy of Art, where I teach 4 days a week, eight months of the year. So I'm a watercolor painter. I'm a painter, but I use watercolor mostly. And that's it for now, I think. That's all I got at this point.
Somehow I think that's not true, but we'll get back to it. We'll hear more from Matt, I'm sure. Hey, Jill, how are you?
Hi, Susan. I'm doing well. I'm here in Maryland, and I'm on the Eastern Shore near the Chesapeake Bay, and I'm an oil painter, and I love the landscape and the emotions that I derive from it. So that's my goal, is really to describe an emotional quality to the work that I'm painting.
Great, thanks. Hi, Susan. You're not too far away from me right now. How are you?
Not too far. I'm good. I am in beautiful Rockport, Massachusetts, right in the heart of Cape Ann. I'm a local yokel. I work in both watercolor and oil.
Okay, great.
Go.
All right, Charles, your turn.
Hey, how's it going, Susan? So are you all in your studios and at home?
I'm in my studio.
You guys are lucky. I'm actually at work.
I'm in my garage.
And you're in your garage. Cool.
Yeah,
Nice
I don't have
garage.
a studio. I have a garage, man cave. We just call it man cave and wink.
Oh, that's nice. I wish I was in mine. But no, I'm at work. I'm just finishing up my day, and it's not Home Depot. It's actually an architectural salvage shop in North Philadelphia. And we sell antiques and bunch of salvageable materials and wood and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at. And I work in the back here. So as of my artwork, I'm an oil painter, and I do mostly urban landscape painting. So that's about me as a painter.
Thanks, Charles.
Oh,
Okay,
no problem.
Doug, you're up.
All right, reporting direct live from my man cave / garage. That was a requirement when we bought the house. I had to have one. But yeah, my name is Doug Clarke. I'm an oil painter / digital painter. But yes, yeah, it's a fun medium, but I think that they both complement each other. And as far as this, I really do love oil painting, and I do a lot of that. Do a lot of plein air when I can, sneak out during lunch, and I like dirty, decrepit, rusty, urban things that sometimes shine in the middle of the night. Or trains. You can always count on me to find a train or anything mechanical. I love those things.
Great, thanks.
And father of two.
Ooh, what age?
Ah, that is the good question. The princess, the youngest one, she's going to have her birthday next week. and she will be 8. It's hard to believe she'll be 8. And then, of course, my oldest turned 16. And he's on the way to driving on the road. And so, yes, make sure your insurance is up to date.
For sure.
What town are you in, Doug?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm coming from Virginia Beach, although I just flew in from Chicago, Virginia Beach, which is also on the Chesapeake Bay. So somehow maybe I could boat to Jill's house. It would be, my arms would be tired if I rode, but yes.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume anything, but you've all painted in or around Cape Ann? Have you been to Cape Ann? Jill, you have not been to Cape Ann. Oh, okay.
No, I've
All
never
right.
been. No, I'm excited,
Okay.
but no, I've never been.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so that's,
what you paint here.
so I was thinking, you know, you landscapes, you know, you said beautiful landscapes, and then we hear from Charles and Doug that you like to paint decrepit, rusty things, which we also have a lot of that on Cape Ann, a lot of ocean-worthy, seaworthy ships, and some that are not so seaworthy. So there's plenty to paint here. So Jill, what drew you to Cape Ann, to apply to Cape Ann Plein Air? What was it that made you?
All the best artists seem to be going there.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Yes, no, it was on my bucket list. Seriously though, I knew that I wanted to apply at some point, and it just didn't seem to be the right time. And it was the right time this year, and you know, fingers crossed, and wasn't expecting to get in necessarily for sure, because I know that there's a lot of great applicants, but I was surprised and excited to be selected, and I can't wait to head up there, because no, I have not been there, and I know that there's wonderful spots to paint, and I'll get to hang out with these guys.
You're gonna love it here. You are.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it here. Doug, how about you? Have you painted on Cape Ann? Have you been in Cape Ann Plein Air before?
I must admit that I too am a Cape Ann virgin. I've never been
cool.
to Cape Ann. I've seen a lot of my painter buddies paint the most painted house in all of America, if not all the world.
It's in my town.
Yes, I know. Are you sick of painting it? That's the question.
Yeah, I quit.
Okay.
Your turn.
I'm sure I have to do at least one. It must be part of the initiation process into the club, as I must paint this house. So yeah, I'll give it a stab. And well, not literally, but yeah, I think it'll be fun. To be quite honest, when I realized I had applied for it, and that I kind of learned more about this house, I realized, oh my God, my grandparents had a painting of that house in our living room.
Wow.
They did. It's. I wish I should have had a photo out with it, but yeah, it was just like, oh, that is the house.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah.
So Susan, can you give us a 30-second description of what it actually is?
So it's commonly referred to as motif number 1. It's actually not a house. It's basically a fishing shack that sits in the middle of Rockport Harbor. It's red, and it's got buoys hanging all over the front of it, and it's up on top of the seawall. So it's it's very iconic. And if you don't know what it is, you'll probably look at it and say, yeah, I think I've seen that before, just like Doug.
Yes. It'd been in my living room in front of me my whole childhood.
I think that's very cool.
Every painter that has come to Cape Ann has painted that thing for whatever reason. I don't find it that appealing, but I have painted it.
You walk by it twice a day, so
yes, I do.
You're a little bit more used to it than others. So
I will not be painting it.
You will not be, or you haven't?
I will not be painting it on a point of principle.
Okay.
It's like the Eiffel Tower in Paris. It's like, if you think about what Paris is like, it's not like the Eiffel Tower. Right? The Eiffel Tower is in Paris, and everyone knows the Eiffel Tower. Everyone knows motif number 1, but there's so many other things. There's so many other fishing shacks and so many unusual things. I'm just not going to do it. I won't. You can't make me. You could, come next May, you could actually have a, Wednesday afternoon, we're all going to go there and paint this. And I wouldn't do it. I'd pretend I had a cold that day or something. Just won't.
Right, Matt. So you were here last year, almost a year ago. Where did you love to paint? What was it about Cape Ann? What did you love to paint when you were here?
So I am also a painter of old stuff. Painter of blight is my kind of subtext. So the fact that you're by the coast means everything gets pretty weather worn pretty quickly. So the weather, anything made of wood and once painted ends up just looking fantastic after a few seasons. I was very drawn to the boat yard, the name of which I can't remember, where a number of us congregated throughout the week. It was in Gloucester.
The Marine Railways? Was it the Marine Railways?
Could have been, yes.
Yeah.
And there was a ship being worked on, a schooner being worked on at the time, which I managed to milk 3 paintings out of. That was probably my favorite thing. But then also the Marine Beacon Marine building, right next door to the gallery, was really intriguing for me. I could have spent my week on just that one building and that one boat in Gloucester. And in fact, if it's howling a gale like it was last year, I know some dry spots where you can see that boat and that building. I probably will spend doing just that.
It did. It was blowing a gale last year. We
Was it?
might talk about that in a little while. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Charles, how about you? What did you love about Cape Ann? Where did you love to paint? Where did you find yourself gravitating to, if anywhere?
Okay, so there was like a lobster marina. I don't remember the name of it, but it was owned by this guy named Joey.
Shimataro, Joey Shimataro.
Yeah, Joey Shimataro. Yeah,
Yep.
he was a hell of a guy. Yeah, and that was a pretty cool experience because he ran Good Morning Gloucester. And yeah, so he did a whole recording of me and on the Good Morning Gloucester show, and that was pretty cool. And also it's got a lot of like pretty cool rundown stuff there. So I thought that was a pretty nice place to paint at. And also the Beacon, and also there's a cool Hopper House across the street. So, but yeah, for next year, here's my thing. I never got to paint motif number 1. I wanna do it. I wanna paint motif number 1, but call it my own and do it in such a way where, yeah, it's like an original, not like anything else. So I think that'll be one of my goals for next time.
Oh, that's a good goal. So
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember when Joey filmed you, you were up on a ladder, right? Were you
Yeah.
up painting on a ladder, and we could probably get that recording and put it on our Facebook page. I think we'll do that. That was great.
Oh, that
Captain
would be-
Joe and Sons. Yeah, he's up at the crack of dawn every day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good experience. And yeah, the ladder came in handy. So.
Was it
Good.
his ladder? Did you borrow his ladder?
Oh no, it's my ladder.
Oh, okay.
I keep it in my van all the time, and so I have the rig and the setup. So it does come in handy whenever I'm looking for a certain vantage point, or if there's something in the way blocking my vantage point. It's good to get up high.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, Susan, you live next to the most iconic building in all of America, but where do you like to paint best when you're out and painting on Cape Ann? I know one of your spots. I hope you mention it. But.
Well, I'm in love with, my own backyard is one, which looks out on Sandy Bay. Bass Rocks over in Gloucester, those rocks and crashing waves. That's the spot where I could spend all week just painting over and over again. And the small salt marshes over in Essex by you. And yeah, in your backyard, the Essex Shipbuilding Museum.
Right. So that tends to be someplace that everybody gravitates to. Matt's
Yeah.
nodding his head, so
Yeah,
Matt's remembering
didn't
that.
get there last year because I'm a very methodical person. I like to do a little bit and really get to know it. And so I saved the Essex Shipbuilding Museum
Oh, you got to go there.
patient that I might one day get juried into Cape Ann Plein Air again. And lo and behold, here I am. So that is on my list for this year.
You should start there. There's a lot of good stuff that you would really enjoy.
I do tend to, I don't know if you guys do that. If I go somewhere and I find something that's great, I'll just go back there. Instead of driving around finding different things each day, I'll just go back and go back. In Annapolis, one year, I just painted one street all week. Just all my paintings were on Conduit Street. I think if I can go somewhere and find 5 or 6 paintings, I'm set, because that's my whole week done, and I don't have to waste time driving, hoping I'll find something.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of, the decrepit, decaying boats there.
Yeah, there's another one in the creek right now. I thought it's a Sylvia Beale.
That was the one last year that was under restoration.
Well, now it's under the water. It's in the creek down at the bottom of the street. I'm not quite sure what Harold has planned for it. I know that he's doing something. I don't know if he's building a new ship or if he's doing something inside the barn that is going to eventually be part of the Beale. But the Beale is kind of listing. You've seen it, Susan. It's sort of, it looks wonderful. You guys, I wish you were here right now to paint it, because it's in the creek, which is almost always low tide. It's a tidal creek, but it doesn't come up that much. And it's listing, and I drink my tea and I can see the masts at one of those angles, one of those mathematical angles going out that way. And it's just fascinating to me. I'm not quite sure what the plan is for that, but hopefully you'll all be able to paint it next May.
Great.
Yeah. So as I said, before we started, a lot of the conversation, and I don't want to dwell on it, but a lot of the conversation sort of fell around how you've managed between March, 5th or 15th, 16th, really, I guess. And now with your artwork, with your plein air, if you depend on the circuit to make your living and to do your art, and if events have been canceled or switched to online, and a lot of it is much more solitary maybe than it has been before. Has that affected you? Has it affected your art? You might be homeschooling your kids. Doug, you might have had your kids home with you, and whoever else has little children. I know, Charles, that you do. And I'm just wondering, so if we could just have a few minutes just for you guys to sort of talk about what it's been like in the last 6 months or so, and then we'll move on from there. So whoever wants to.
It's been sort of a year of rejiggering everything. Lots of lost opportunities that we were used to having, like plein air events that all got postponed or canceled. For me here in Rockport, I opened a gallery a little over a year ago. We depend a lot on tourism, so it was pretty dead for quite a while. And we were completely shut down for about 4 months. But there were positives for me too, because it allowed me a lot of much more intense studio time, which I felt like I needed, and helped my oil painting quite a lot. It gave me time to take a little online mentoring course with a master landscape painter that I wanted to study with for a long time. And forced me to do a whole lot of concentrated marketing that I'd gotten pretty slack about. So,
Sure.
Would have preferred not to have gone through that, but still be going through it. But it wasn't all negative results.
Does anybody else want to weigh in on how it's sort of affected you, your art world?
Can we rewind to 2019, please?
You want to do over?
Just like turn back time. Go
Honestly,
back a few years even.
Honestly, I hear you. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's been horrible. It really has. As far as for me, I've been doing some how would you say, little painting adventure documentaries with my son. I think that's probably the only bright spot on this, is that, I get to teach him some stuff I know about video and cinematography and editing. And he used to do Nerf videos. And so that skill that I gave him, and then being able to edit in with professional editing programs, really has given us some father-son time. And he's been a real champ with helping me on it. I mean, all I have to do is run down the street to Krispy Kreme and get them some donuts. I mean, it's pretty cheap labor, but yeah, it's like any other artist. It's not the year that you'd want or planned for, and I think that some of us are more adaptable than others, and I think that going forward, how would you say? I think that life for me pretty much shut down, because it just, with my family and work and my wife's work and everything, it came to a screeching halt for the most part. And then any opportunities of, like, maybe late summer, just things just started falling off. But on the flip side, it's definitely made me rethink everything that I do, as far as painting, marketing, what I want to be as an artist. How much do I want to put effort into certain aspects of it? And so, yeah, it's definitely been a time of unwanted reflection. Really, you look in the mirror. Oh, okay, what's going on today?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is definitely, I can imagine, for every artist, and everyone is a different situation. And some of us are a little bit more, I would say we have a little bit better opportunities or a safety net than others. So, I work a full-time job, so I'm grateful for a full-time job safety net. But, I have friends of mine that are full-time artists, and, I applaud them for, really bucking down and putting in the work and trying to make the best of a life-changing, once in a lifetime changing event. I hope it's once in a lifetime event. And I definitely reflect back to the stories that my grandmother used to tell me about the Great Depression. So, it's you have to be thankful for what you have. And how would you say, learn to be adaptable.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. Matt.
I would echo pretty much everything that you guys have already said, but thinking about the positives, because there have to be positives for sure. I think one of the things that I've done, I'm doing it right now, that I wasn't doing a year ago is this sort of get to know the artist kind of thing. So here we are talking, and perhaps some of the patrons and followers of CAPA will feel like they've actually got a little bit of a primer into who we are, not just what we do. Doing another one tomorrow talking about art and faith on a podcast. And last week I did an interview with a museum curator. I mean, I think these sorts of things are positive. I think it's got to be good for patrons, supporters, to get to know us a bit more. And I think that's Susan, down to people like you kind of shuffling around trying to work out, well, what can we offer that we weren't offering before? And I think that's rich, and hopefully something that won't go away post COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is something of value for people.
I definitely think so. So thank you, Matt. That is so true. Jill, how about you? What are your thoughts about this? How have your last 6 months, 7 months gone? And
I've been hanging in there. I think it's been introspective, as I think everyone else has said. It's a time of introspection and thinking about, okay, what can I do better, or what direction do I really need to go? A little bit of soul searching. and also, I have noticed there's events that have canceled, but there's also events that went on and reimagined themselves, such as the one down in Atlanta. Easton did a modified event, and they're rethinking things, and I respect that they rethought that as well as you all, and I agree. I think it's something that is going to down the pike be it's going to change the way that events proceed, or even galleries proceed with how they present things to the public. So I think there's growth from it, but but also it's been challenging and difficult to see the hardships and so it's I think there's good that's going to come out of it eventually, and I think it's a great to try and see the positive side of things.
Thanks.
But no, it's been a challenge. I mean, but us artists, we're all very solitary beings, so we're used to being in our studios and painting by ourselves, and sort of being. I'm an introvert, so for me, it's sort of social distance is my norm.
You've been training all your life. You've been training all your life for this. I have some friends who are exactly the same way.
So, but I'm doing well, and things are going well. And anyway, I'm looking forward to 2021.
Oh boy, I think we all are. Charles, how about you? How's life been?
I'm extremely nervous. I'm sorry.
You're nervous about about doing this?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
No, I have a lot of stage fright. I'm sorry.
Are you painting and you're still, I see you're working in your architectural building there. So that's all sort of been going on for you, and you're painting, you're still getting out painting?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I will say I haven't actually done, I don't know who has, I haven't done an actual live event this year at all. Has anyone? Jill, you did Easton?
I did Easton, yes, and that was quite successful for the artists that it did end up attending, and I think it was successful for the event itself. So it was a surprise, I think. Yes.
Anybody else actually done a not line version of?
I did a small event back in January down in Florida, but nothing since then. Yeah.
Right.
You're heading to Texas, right? Next month?
And I am heading to Texas in October with Jill.
I hope you don't have however many rusty painters when we come to you in May next year, Susan. I hope by then we've
I don't think the artwork is gonna suffer. Charles, listen, if you need to jump off, you can go ahead and jump off. If you need to, if you need to go finish your day, that's fine.
All right. Sorry about this.
No, that's okay. We totally understand. I'm so glad to see your face. We'll see you live in May.
All right.
Great to
Thank
see
you.
you again, Charles.
Right.
Good to see
Looking
you,
forward to
Charles.
seeing you next year.
All right, Charles, take
Good to see you.
care.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, there we go. Anybody else painting doing any events? Are you planning any? Matt, are you doing anything else besides?
Is going to be the only live event. I'm heading off on Friday down to Annapolis. So that was scheduled for June. It's usually in June, and they rescheduled. I think thinking that it would all be just fine by September, and they've been just kind of rethinking, analyzing what best to do, and they've decided to go ahead. Although it's obviously there are different rules in place, but and we're going to have please stand 6 feet away on the back of our T-shirt. But I'm excited to be doing it. I'm just excited to be out.
Yeah. It was a tough decision for us. And I'm now that we're a month out, less than a month of where we would be in October, I'm so glad that we did what we did. But it was a really hard decision. Nobody thought we were going to have to keep worrying about this come October. But really, it started from the housing hosts. You know, our housing coordinator just saying, we're not sure we're going to be able to find enough housing for people who are comfortable having people come stay in the house from around the country and the world. So it was a hard decision, but I think it was a good decision. I applaud Texas. I know that it's different than Cape Ann. It's pretty spread out, and there's lots of big open ranges and that kind of thing. So Susan, I know you and John and others are heading out there, and I'm sure that's going to be pretty great. It'll be different as Easton was.
Yeah, they've done a lot to adapt. And, you know, I'm so impressed with so many events and museums and galleries that have been so innovative during all of this. You know, I did a museum show out west that they just completely ballooned their online presence and doing video tours and this sort of thing, and Zoom cocktail parties, and just really creative stuff. And I think Easton did some pretty creative stuff to make it accessible and safe.
Yeah.
And I know CAPA is too. You know, obviously we're all online.
Yeah, you know, we're still pushing off decisions around that kind of thing a little bit later, you know, getting closer to May to see exactly what it might look like. We're still hoping for a real event, a real gala event, selling paintings in a real building with real people inside it. So, you know, we'll see. We were hoping to do an actual quick draw during October's week for local artists, and we just can't even do that. You know, we just can't even do that. We're not, you know, we're following the guidelines, the scientists. We're listening to the scientists and following the guidelines, and our governor's doing a good job doing the same thing. So
I just found out I have to have the stick up the nose to be able to drive to Annapolis. They won't let you in if you haven't got a piece of paper saying you've been tested and you're good.
It's fun, Matt. I did mine today, and I did mine when I was in Chicago, and before I left Chicago. It's so much fun. Plenty of joy.
You. Yeah. You'll be
Susan,
okay.
do you need to be tested before you go to Texas, or
I don't
when
have
you come
to be
back?
tested to go, but I probably will unless it changes by then to come back. Yeah. Or self-quarantine for 2 weeks, which that's probably not realistic. Yeah.
So let's think positively. Let's think about goals. We had a conversation, the first group sort of had a conversation of what their dream project is. May not even be art, but just what a dream project is that you think about, that you'd like to sort of complete in the next 6 months or a year. And they sort of went off on a conversation around that. It was kind of interesting, and it wasn't necessarily related to art. So anything that's there, I mean, Doug, I have a feeling that you might have some ideas about.
Finding the rich patron that just says, here's lots of money, go forth and paint all you want. Here's my chateau you may stay at your leisure. Paint away the afternoons in glorious sunlight.
Where are the Medicis when we need them?
I know. I still, you know, I've been putting out those classifieds on Craigslist, and coming up empty. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but you know, I think for me, one of the things that I've been really enjoying the process with my son and doing these videos. And as far as YouTube, I found that, you know, it's nice to be able to document my work. So I'm trying to, the three little letters there, try to record all my oil paintings. And so I've got a little bit of a setup, And between that and doing some small paintings, and I'd like to do some big paintings, but doing these little, how would you say, adventure paintings? It sounds like, I don't know. They're fun. I get to use some of my knowledge that I went to college for and never used really after I left the ad agencies. And so it's nice to have those little set of tool bags of video editing and graphics and the sound of knowledge to be able to produce, shoot, and edit these videos and work with my son and explore this YouTube avenue, if you will. It's I don't know, it's really made me think about the process, and the feedback I've been getting about people wanting that little tiny adventure on the screen has been pretty fascinating. So we're gonna be doing a lot more of those as well. I find it so much more exciting than trying to do a kind of how would you say, a tutorial painting. Rather just go out and just share my passion for the unknown and just stumbling upon stuff. So, and then painting it. So yeah, I think that's kind of the goal, so to speak, is to kind of go from there and hopefully be able to reach a lot more people with my art. So yeah, and share time with my son.
Can we find you on YouTube now? You want to tell us?
Oh
what your
yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
channel
it's
is?
under Liquid Method.
Okay.
Yeah, Liquid Method, and I think the last two videos are plein air ones, and so they've yeah, I don't know, it's I've kind of thrown myself where I don't really see too many people doing, and so I said, okay, this is fun, let me keep going with it. So yeah, it's you can see my painting videos from there, and I'll be doing some time-lapse stuff as well with the studio work and my digital painting. So I think it's kind of interesting, and I'm hoping to expand and grow through this whole process. So I guess that's the silver lining from our previous conversation of this whole COVID.
Sure. Russell Jewell sent an interesting 2-minute time lapse. He did a time lapse, and so we're going to feature that during CAPA week, the October virtual CAPA week. So I'm happy to take anybody's sort of file. So if you want to send me something, Doug, or you want me to pick something on YouTube, that would be great. I would love that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Jill, Matt, Susan, what do you think about looking forward and what you're looking forward to?
Well, moving forward, for me, moving forward, one of the things I'm sort of forced to do during this time is to become more familiar with what Doug is speaking about. And I have a long way to go, but I'm sort of being forced to do it because of an upcoming show. So I have a partner in crime with this show who's technologically more advanced than I am. So she's been sort of kicking me in the rear to get a little bit more proficient with my technology knowledge, and that's been I've grown from that. I mean, that's been helpful, and I hope to learn more, and maybe Doug can help me with that. I don't know. YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a wonderful partner, Kim.
Yes, thank you.
You and Kim have really done a good job of getting the word out about this. I mean,
It's not me.
You. Well, you claim a little bit of it. I mean, you really have.
You participate.
You've really done a good job.
Thank you, Matt.
Kim's done a great job, and you've sat next to her. But it's been...
Yeah, well, for me, something that's kind of growing out of the whole COVID thing is teaching online. I've been kind of resistant over the last few years to doing the workshop teaching that so many of us do. Just because I was traveling so much for the plein air events, I didn't want to pile on more travel. I have a gallery now. I wanted to stick closer to home. I started teaching online watercolor classes, which allows me to teach people from anywhere And it's like, well, that makes perfect sense. That's a really good fit for me. So I hope that's something people are still going to be interested in longer term, because it allows me, it's fun for one thing. I enjoy doing that. And it's, you know, a way to share what I know without having to take a giant chunk of my time getting places to do that. So that's kind of a positive project going forward that's growing out of this.
And how do people find those classes, Susan? How do they need to register? How do they find you?
I'm doing them through Chesapeake Fine Arts Studio. Their website is chesapeakefineartsstudio.com. So they kind of run all the registration and stuff through them, but I've been doing like 6-week courses, once a week class. Yeah, and they're not a huge commitment for the students and not a huge commitment for me, but a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And Matt, you're a teacher. Are you doing teaching remotely, or have you stopped teaching? Has everything shut down? Is that how you teach?
So yeah, our school is the American Academy of Art 4-year degree program. So I teach in the studio here 4 days a week, 7 hours a day with a mask on. I was asked if what I felt about remote or coming in, and I finished last semester, in fact, remotely teaching, and I noticed with my students that the quality of work and the determination and the effort all went out the window. So because it's not a workshop or a short commitment, it's a 4-year degree. To me, the ability to be here, albeit with a mask on, and reduced class sizes, the complications of all of that, it's just better to be here. So yeah, I'm here 4 days a week, and my plein air season is crunched anyway into the April through September chunk, and then they give me special dispensation to do another event. Last year they gave me 2, so I could do Texas and Cape Ann. But generally speaking, the summer I'm on the road, plein airing, and then 8 months I'm here in Chicago. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so what am I doing instead? So I've been doing a lot of other things, like these sorts of things. I started a thing called Story Time with MBK, which was basically just a chance for me to tell stories and talk and hear myself talk. Nobody else listened, but so I started doing that kind of thing, just to sort of keep my face out there, because I don't do online demos. I don't do time. One of the things about my painting is that I'm notoriously slow on the plein air circuit. So while other people are doing 2 or 3 paintings a day, some are doing 4 paintings a day, I'll do 1 painting a day, or 1 painting and then a little study while that painting's in process. So time-lapse painting is not my thing, because it seems to be the very antithesis of what the quality of watching me paint really is like, which is incredibly laborious and slow. So I don't do the online demos, because they'd go on all day, and I don't do time-lapse because I'm really super slow, not super fast. So I've been doing other things online, but I've been spending time with my kiddos, which has been fantastic, because I've got kids at university who came home unexpectedly for 4 months, which was fabulous. And what I've got lined up in the next 6 months is building a tea house for my wife.
Wow.
Which is not painting at all, but fun. A different kind of creative.
Absolutely. It sounds great.
Well, I hope it will be. We've been salvaging doors. It's too bad Charles had to leave. We've been salvaging doors from a home. Some friends of ours sold their home. They had this is a long story. I'll make it real quick. Friends of ours had an old Victorian dairy here in Chicago in a very fancy schmancy neighborhood, and sold it for $6.75 million. And the new buyer is demolishing the whole thing, razing it to the ground. Fabulous building. Razing it to the ground to build something nice and new. Anyway, so we got all the doors. So we're building a tea house out of salvage doors.
How old are the doors? What was the vintage of the building?
The building is mostly from the 1890s, but these doors are probably 1930s, glazed.
Nice.
Very
Door.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see it when it's done. Make sure you
I'll
share
photo
pictures.
Yeah.
Great. Well, you guys, you've been awesome. It's been almost an hour, and I know that you all need to go do other things. But I just really want to thank you all for coming and talking about yourselves and your art and your lives. It's been really wonderful. Jill and Doug, we haven't met, so it's really great to get to know you a little bit. I so look forward to seeing everybody in May. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see everybody next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks
a lot
for having me.
Yeah.